The moment that was supposed to be forever asterisk, imagine standing there, dressed for a day you thought would last forever. Every detail planned, every smile rehearsed, every promise whispered in your heart. The flowers, the music, the people around. It all feels perfect. And yet, in that perfect moment, a shadow falls. You expected joy, laughter, a memory to treasure. Instead, there is a pause, a crack in reality you can't ignore. This is the moment when time slows, when your heart begins to weigh heavier than the music around you. The day that was supposed to mark a beginning suddenly feels like a test you never agreed to take. When one sentence shatters the room, then it comes. One sentence, simple yet explosive. The words echo in your mind long after the room continues its celebrations. Silence follows in your chest, not in the room. Every eye seems unaware of the storm inside you, yet it is impossible to ignore. The sound of those words hits like a stone thrown into still water. Shock, confusion, heartbreak. You hear them, and your mind races, trying to find the rhythm of normalcy, but the sentence doesn't let go. It stays with you, vibrating in your chest, rewriting everything you thought you knew. Smiling faces, breaking hearts around you, the world smiles. Cameras flash, glasses clink, and laughter rises, but inside your heart is cracking. This contrast is unbearable. The celebration outside becomes a mirror reflecting your own pain. Everyone else enjoys the moment, completely unaware of the emotional storm raging inside you. You learn quickly how isolation works, how you can be surrounded by happiness yet feel entirely alone. The smiles that were supposed to celebrate your joy now amplify your suffering. The louder the cheers, the heavier the weight on your chest. Asterisk, what would you feel if it happened to you? Asterisk, pause for a moment. Imagine it. A moment you dreamed. Off becomes a memory of heartbreak. Your mind races, asking questions you never wanted to face. Would you feel anger, betrayal, confusion? Or would it break you quietly, leaving scars no one can see? Everyone has a moment like this in different forms, at work, at home, in friendships, and love. It's not just a wedding story. It's a reflection of moments where reality doesn't match expectation, where trust is questioned, and where the heart feels unseen. Betrayal doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers the truth. Betrayal isn't always loud. Sometimes it comes softly, in a whisper, in a look, in a sentence spoken too late. It's subtle at first, a feeling you try to dismiss, a doubt you try to ignore. And yet, when it finally speaks clearly, it's impossible to deny. It makes you question your choices, your trust, your heart. This is where reality bites, where the truth arrives with a weight you weren't prepared for. The hurt is not in anger, it's in recognition. The heartbreak is in realizing what you allowed without realizing it. Asterisk. Listen carefully. This is where strength is born. Asterisk. But here is the shift, the place where the pain turns into power. Listen closely. Strength is not born in comfort, in smiles, or in agreement. It is born in moments like this, when everything you thought was certain collapses around you. Right now, you have a choice. You can let the weight crush you, or you can let it awaken something inside you. This moment, as painful as it is, becomes the seed for resilience. The storm may have arrived, but the roots of strength are planted in its soil. Asterisk, the unseen signs we ignore. Asterisk, you felt it first before you ever had proof. Asterisk, asterisk. There's a voice inside you that whispers before the world speaks. You know the feeling, you can't see it yet, but your heart knows. Something feels off. Something doesn't add up. It's that quiet alarm that often goes ignored because logic hasn't caught up. But here's the truth. Your intuition is rarely wrong. It's the first warning system telling you, watch closely, pay attention. Many of us silence that voice because we're scared of being wrong or making waves. But the moment you ignore it, the risk grows. The earlier you listen, the earlier you protect yourself. That asterisk, the quiet lies we tell ourselves to stay comfortable. Asterisk, we tell ourselves stories to feel safe. It's nothing. I'm overthinking. I'm imagining things. These quiet lies are survival tools, but they can become traps. We trade awareness for comfort, convenience for caution. We convince ourselves that staying silent or ignoring the signs is easier than facing the truth. But this is where danger grows. Comfort feels safe, but it often hides the truth that needs to be confronted. Trusting someone doesn't mean ignoring red flags. Convenience doesn't excuse compromise. The cost of lying to yourself is far heavier than confronting reality. Asterisk red flags don't start red, they start pink. Asterisk. Warning signs don't always scream, they creep in quietly. A word, a glance, a pattern you try to dismiss, these are pink flags. They are small compromises, minor tolerances, moments you tell yourself aren't a big deal. But every time you let them slide, the color deepens. Pink becomes red. Small cracks grow into fractures. What seems minor now can grow into heartbreak later. Paying attention early prevents years of regret. The sooner you see the pink, the sooner you protect yourself from the red. Loving someone versus needing someone. There's a world of difference between love and need. Love is a choice, need is a cage. Love builds, need binds. When you love someone, you add to your life, not subtract from it. When you need someone, you hand over control of your happiness. Many of us confuse the two. We stay where we are because we feel dependent, because the fear of loss outweighs the truth of what we deserve. Love should feel freeing. Need feels like chains. Recognize the difference, and you reclaim the power you thought you lost. Asterisk, what you tolerate today becomes your cage tomorrow. Asterisk, every small compromise matters. Every boundary you ignore, every warning you dismiss, every small betrayal you excuse, they build a cage around your heart. It might feel harmless now, but over time, the walls close in. If you allow disrespect, dishonesty, or neglect today, tomorrow you find yourself trapped in patterns you didn't choose. Pain grows silently in those gaps. The responsibility to set limits is yours. Tough love starts with yourself. What you accept today shapes the life you live tomorrow. Asterisk, you ignored it. You excused it. You explained it away. Asterisk, say it aloud. You ignored it. You excused it. You explained it away. Each repetition drives the point home. Awareness is delayed when denial takes over. Reflection is key. Look back and recognize the signs you let pass. Don't dwell in regret, dwell in learning. The lessons are clear. Your intuition matters. Your boundaries matter. Your heart deserves more than excuses. Stop explaining what should never have been tolerated. Start noticing. Start choosing differently. Public humiliation and private pain, being hurt where everyone can see you. Asterisk, there's a pain that's worse because public. Being hurt in front of others is a unique kind of heartbreak. The world watches, often unaware of the storm inside you. Every laugh, every cheer, every camera flash feels like a spotlight on your vulnerability. You're exposed, yet you must maintain composure. The challenge isn't just the hurt, it's the feeling of being seen at your lowest point without the safety of privacy. This kind of pain tests your strength like nothing else. Smiling for the world while breaking inside. You've felt it before, the need to appear fine when inside you're falling apart. You smile, nod, laugh, and behave normally while every thought feels like chaos. The music plays, people talk, and you play along, but internally, everything is breaking. This is the silent suffering no one can measure. Your heart is carrying weight that your face hides. The skill of masking pain becomes a survival tactic, but it comes at the cost of emotional exhaustion. The music is loud, but your thoughts are louder around you. Life moves full of sound and laughter, but your thoughts dominate. Every memory, every question, every fear lives in your mind like a relentless echo. The music, the noise, the celebrations, they fade against the inner storm. The louder the world is, the clearer the pain. It demands attention. You realize that no external distraction can silence what needs to be faced internally. The inner voice becomes impossible to ignore, pushing you toward awareness. Asterisk celebration on the outside, devastation on the inside. Asterisk the contrast between what the world sees and what you feel cannot be overstated. Outside, everything is perfect. Inside, everything feels shattered. The disconnect is painful. This is where empathy begins, not just for yourself, but for others who endure silent pain. You understand now that private suffering exists everywhere, even in the brightest moments. Awareness of this truth strengthens your ability to act, to protect, and to rise. Pain doesn't ask permission, it arrives anyway. Pain doesn't knock. It doesn't wait for convenience. It enters uninvited, changing everything in a moment. You can't prepare for every heartbreak, every betrayal, every moment that tests you. What matters is not avoidance, it's how you respond. The arrival of pain is inevitable. Choosing what to do with it is not. Pain can teach, sharpen, and define your strength if you let it. Asterisk. This isn't just a wedding story, it's a human one. Asterisk. While this moment may have happened at a wedding, the lesson applies to life. Work, friendships, family, love, they all carry moments of public hurt, private pain, and quiet suffering. These experiences are universal. You're not alone in this. Recognizing the shared human struggle helps you see beyond isolation. You learn that others face similar storms, and this awareness can guide you toward empathy, resilience, and action. Being hurt doesn't make you weak, staying silent forever does. The moment that silenced the room, the words that stopped everything. Why is that old leech here? We don't have space. Let that sink in. Imagine hearing words so sharp they cut through the air and freeze everything around you. The room goes silent, hearts stop for a moment, and you feel the weight of every syllable. Words have power to wound, to humiliate, to change how you see someone forever. This wasn't just anger speaking. It was a mirror held up to reveal raw intentions, hidden thoughts, and the truth behind a person's character. Sometimes, one line is enough to reveal everything we needed to see. A mirror reflecting true character. Words are not just words. They are reflections of what lives inside someone's mind and heart. When cruelty falls from lips, it is not the moment that is surprising, it is the truth that we finally see. How someone speaks under pressure when they think no one is watching is who they really are. Every insult, every sharp remark is a piece of their inner self exposed. You can learn more about a person from a single sentence than years of polite interaction. Words reveal, words reflect. And sometimes they cut deeper than actions ever could. The silence after the storm. Asterisk. After those words are spoken, there is a pause, a stillness that feels heavy. People glance at each other, unsure what to say, unsure how to respond. That silence is powerful. It carries shock, disbelief, and a question everyone is thinking, but no one dares to voice. Silence is not empty, it speaks loudly. It tells you that words have consequences. It tells you that cruelty leaves a mark. And in that quiet, the true impact of what was said finally settles in, lingering long after the sound has faded. Asterisk. Have you ever felt this shock? Asterisk. Have you ever felt words hit you like a physical blow? Have you ever stood frozen hearing something that changed how you saw a person or even yourself? That shock is unforgettable. It forces reflection. It makes you pause and think, could I ever speak like this? Could I ever act like this? Moments like this are invitations to look inside ourselves. They make us question our own character, our own actions, and our own words. They are uncomfortable but necessary mirrors that demand attention. Asterisk anger. Or revelation. The fine line asterisk anger often wears a mask. It claims to be spontaneous, but more often is rehearsal made visible. When someone lashes out, what they say isn't always about the moment. It's about what's been brewing underneath. Anger exposes what we normally hide. It reveals fears, biases, impatience, and sometimes cruelty. What you hear in that instant is a reflection of inner truths. It is raw, it is unfiltered, and it is a revelation you cannot ignore. Why words matter more than you think. Every word carries weight. A single phrase can uplift or destroy, heal or wound. Words create impressions that last longer than actions, leaving marks in memory and in relationships. They shape how people feel about themselves and about you. When we speak carelessly, we plant seeds of hurt. When we speak with thought, we plant seeds of respect. Words are not temporary, they are permanent, and the way we use them defines who we are and how we are remembered. Asterisk, when respect disappears. Society is exposed asterisk, no space, no patience. No respect asterisk, look around and notice how quickly we discard what we no longer find convenient. The elderly waiting for help, the dependent asking for a little time, the vulnerable needing patience, all too often met with impatience, frustration, or outright dismissal. No space. No time, no respect. These words are not just complaints, they are a reflection of society itself. When we treat those who need us the least consideration, we reveal the cracks in our humanity. If we cannot honor those who cannot give us anything in return, what does that say about the foundation we are standing on? Convenience culture versus gratitude culture. We live in a world that prizes speed and convenience over appreciation and gratitude. It's easier to scroll past someone in need than to stop and help. We forget that life is not a transaction where value is always immediate. Gratitude culture demands patience, effort, and attention. Convenience culture offers none of that, and yet it is convenience culture that dominates. If we never pause to appreciate, to respect, to see the people behind the problems, we teach ourselves and others that life is about taking, not giving. The invisible people among us, there are countless individuals who go unnoticed, everyday people, who carry burdens quietly, who ask little, and who give more than they receive. Society treats them like shadows as though their presence is optional, and yet they are the ones who hold families together, communities alive, and humanity intact. When we ignore the invisible, we lose sight of the lessons they quietly teach. Patience, humility, and endurance. We judge value by immediate usefulness, but the true measure of worth is not convenience. It is character, compassion, and the silent strength that often goes unseen. Consequences of discarding humanity. Every action has consequences, whether immediate or delayed. When we disrespect the weak or the dependent, we plant seeds of regret, distrust, and broken relationships. One day, we may find ourselves needing what we once dismissed. Life has a way of balancing the scales. Treating someone poorly today can echo through tomorrow in ways we never imagined. Disregard for humanity is never without cost, and ignoring respect now may mean facing harsh realities later. Asterisk. The mirror of our actions asterisk, how we treat the powerless is a reflection of who we are. Actions toward those who cannot defend themselves reveal our true character more than any display of strength or authority. Every dismissive word, every act of impatience is a mirror showing our values, our fears, and our weaknesses. If we see cruelty in our responses, it is a warning. If we show patience and respect, it reflects courage and integrity. Society is not built by grand gestures alone, it is revealed in the small moments of care and consideration. Asterisk. Lessons we often ignore. Asterisk. Too often, we miss the simple truth. Humanity is measured by how we treat those with the least power. The lessons are everywhere in acts of kindness, in moments of restraint, and listening when it is easier to ignore. Respect is not earned through status or wealth. It is a choice we make every day. When we recognize the importance of compassion, we not only honor others but strengthen ourselves, building a society that values people over convenience and kindness over indifference. Asterisk. The dangerous lie of "I didn't mean it" excuses are the enemy of truth. I didn't mean it. How often have we heard these words, spoken to soften the blow of something hurtful? Excuses are easy. They provide cover for what should be owned, but truth does not hide behind phrases or apologies. Every harmful word has weight, and pretending it was unintentional does not erase the impact. What you say, whether in anger or carelessness, defines the moment and leaves a mark. Owning your words is the first step toward integrity. Excuses dilute responsibility, they never heal the wounds caused. Anger reveals what silence conceals. Words spoken in anger are not random. They are the surface of thoughts long buried. Silence can hide fears, frustrations, and prejudices, but anger brings them to light. When someone lashes out, listen carefully. Behind the heat lies a truth they could no longer contain. Understanding. This is not about forgiving easily. It is about recognizing that what is said under pressure was already inside. Anger exposes, it does not invent. And once revealed, it demands reflection on both the speaker and the listener. Asterisk. The myth of slip of the tongue. Asterisk. We often excuse cruelty by calling it a slip of the tongue. Let me tell you something, it is never a slip. Words spoken are prepared, rehearsed in the mind, sometimes for days before they are voiced. Even when it seems sudden, it is revealing. What emerges in anger is a reflection of thought, character, and intent. There is no magic eraser. Understanding this forces us to pay attention, to guard our words, and to hold ourselves accountable for what comes out of our mouths. Asterisk. What lies beneath words spoken in heat. Asterisk. Every angry word carries hidden meaning. It may reveal fear, resentment, or unresolved pain. The intention is often disguised, but the truth is visible to those who notice. Cruelty, impatience, or indifference often has roots deeper than the moment. Recognizing the layers beneath angry speech allows us to respond thoughtfully, not react blindly. It is a mirror reflecting both the speaker's character and the listener's awareness. Asterisk. Own your words, or they own you. Asterisk. Words have power. They can shape lives, lift spirits, or leave lasting scars. If you do not take ownership of your words, they will control your reputation, relationships, and conscience. Responsibility is simple. Speak carefully, own what you say, and never hide behind excuses. The moment you refuse to own your words, you surrender control over how you are remembered. Asterisk. Why meaningless apologies don't heal. Asterisk. Saying "I'm sorry" without intention or reflection is empty. Apologies without change are just noise. Healing requires acknowledgement and action. Excuses cannot repair what thoughtless words destroy. True remorse demands understanding, humility, and effort to do better. Only then do words regain their potential to restore trust, mend relationships, and reflect a character that values honesty and respect. Asterisk. When power shifts, character speaks.
The strength no one saw coming. They thought this would destroy me, but something quiet grew instead. Some people expected this moment to end me. They thought the pain would crush my spirit, slow my steps, and shrink my life. From the outside, it probably looked like I was falling apart. I wasn't loud about my healing. I wasn't making speeches. I was just surviving one day at a time. And in that quiet space, something unexpected began to grow. Not anger, not hardness, strength, the kind that forms slowly, the kind that doesn't need attention. While others were watching for my fall, I was learning how to stand again, not the same way as before, stronger in a deeper way. This is what people often miss. Real strength doesn't rush to prove itself. It grows patiently out of sight until one day it's impossible to ignore. Strength is always loud, sometimes it survives in silence. We're taught to believe strength has to be visible, loud words, bold moves, big reactions, but some of the strongest people you'll ever meet are quiet. They carry their weight without asking anyone to notice. Strength can look like getting up when no one knows how hard it is. It can look like choosing peace instead of argument, like staying kind even after being hurt. Silence doesn't mean weakness. Sometimes it means control. Sometimes it means wisdom. Sometimes it means you're conserving your energy for what truly matters. If your strength hasn't been seen, that doesn't mean it isn't real. It means it's still growing. Healing happens when no one is watching. Most healing doesn't happen in front of others. It happens late at night, in quiet mornings, in small choices you make when no one is there to see them. It happens when you choose rest instead of running, when you reflect instead of reacting. This kind of healing isn't dramatic, it's steady. You learn how to calm your thoughts, how to trust yourself again, how to breathe through moments that used to overwhelm you. No one may notice these changes right away, but you do, and that's enough, because healing isn't about being seen, it's about becoming whole again. Roots grow in the dark even when no one applauds. Roots don't grow in the light, they grow underground, in darkness, in silence. And without roots, nothing stands tall for long. Your growth doesn't need an audience, it needs time. If you feel unseen right now, remember this. What's growing beneath the surface matters more than what shows on the outside. One day, the strength you built quietly will support everything you become, and when that day comes, you'll know the truth. Nothing was wasted. Turning betrayal into boundaries. Boundaries aren't punishment, they're proof of self-respect. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away, they're about protecting what matters. They don't come from anger, they come from understanding your worth. When you set boundaries, you're saying, "This is how I take care of myself." It's not harsh to decide what you allow in your life, it's healthy. You can be kind and still be firm, you can care and still say no. Boundaries don't make you distant, they make your relationships clearer, and clarity builds safety, not distance. From now on, access is earned, not assumed. Not everyone deserves the same level of closeness. Trust isn't automatic anymore, it's built slowly, through actions, through honesty, through respect. From now on, you decide who gets access to your time, your energy, and your heart. This isn't about holding grudges, it's about being mindful. When someone shows you who they are, believe them, let their actions guide how close they're allowed to stand. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. Your life has limited space, not everyone can sit close. Some people belong in the background, some on the edges, and that's okay. You don't owe everyone full access, you owe yourself peace. Choosing who stays close is an act of care, not rejection. When you protect your space, you protect your growth. I didn't harden, I got clear. I didn't shut down, I opened my eyes. I didn't become cold, I became aware. Clarity changes how you move. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't listen. You stop waiting for others to change. You learn to trust your judgment again, and that clarity brings calm because you know where you stand, and you know what you will no longer accept. A message to anyone BTRYD. If you're listening with a heavy heart, this is for you. If you're carrying pain quietly, this moment is for you. If you've been strong for everyone else but tired inside, hear this. You're not alone in this feeling. Betrayal hurts deeply because it breaks trust, and trust matters. What you're feeling is real, and it deserves care, not shame. Do you still believe this pain gets to define you? Pain changes you, but it doesn't own you. It doesn't get to decide your future. It doesn't get to tell you who you are. Ask yourself this: will this moment shape you or will it trap you? You have more choice than you think, and that choice begins now. You are not weak, you are not broken, you are not finished. Say it again: you are not weak, you are not broken, you are not finished. You're still here, still learning, still growing. Surviving what you've been through takes strength, even if it doesn't feel like it yet, and that strength will carry you forward. Scars don't mean you lost, they mean you survived. Scars tell a story not of failure but of survival. They show where you were hurt and where you healed. You didn't lose because you were wounded, you lived through it, and that matters more than you realize. The rise not despite the pain but because of it. This pain wasn't the end, it was the turning point. This moment didn't stop your life, it redirected it. It showed you what matters and what doesn't, it opened your eyes. What feels heavy now will make sense later. This pain didn't come to destroy you, it came to wake you up. Stand up, choose yourself, walk forward without apology. Stand up for your peace, choose yourself without guilt, walk forward without explaining your worth. You don't need permission to move on, you don't need approval to live fully. This is your life. I didn't break, I woke up. I didn't break under pressure, I became aware, I saw clearly, I chose differently. Awareness changes everything. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it, and that awareness becomes your strength. What tried to bury you became the soil that grew you. What was meant to end you fed your growth instead. What tried to bury you became the ground you rose from. And now you stand taller, rooted deeper, ready for what comes next.